is Liverpool, the gateway to the West. This great city, which began as a mere hamlet on the edge of the Mersey, now occupies over 28,000 acres and has nearly 1 million inhabitants. Its development as a seaport has been so vigorous and so well planned that World War II found it a vital supply port through which passed millions of tons of cargo and hundreds of thousands of troops and their equipment. From a single dock, opened in 1715, there are now no less than 66, spread over 7 continuous miles. The world's largest liners can be handled efficiently, with every modern aid to assist them, including radar. The ferries are the very breath of Liverpool. They ply their trade across the Mersey under the shadow of the Liver building, tying up at the world's largest floating landing stage. The ferries carry much of the traffic, but workers pour in by every means. Congestion is a serious problem which may threaten the business and industrial life of the city. Even the Mersey Tunnel, which handles 10 million vehicles a year, has almost reached saturation point. Like every modern city, Liverpool has its own busy airport at Speke on the banks of the Mersey. The Liver building, part of Liverpool's unique skyline, is known the world over. Prominent in this skyline is the Anglican Cathedral, now almost complete after nearly half a century. Whilst nearby is the Metropolitan Cathedral, where masons old and new caress the rude stones into things of beauty. The buildings in William Brown Street reflect the solidity and wealth of the city. The museum and lending library, now scarcely showing their scars of war. The Picton Library. The dignified Walker Art Gallery, and nearby impressive St. George's Hall. The University, granted its Royal Charter in 1903, with its new School of Medicine. Here in Rodney Street is the birthplace of Gladstone. Croxteth Hall, the historic home of the Earls of Sefton. The Tudor atmosphere of Speke Hall gives no indication that it lies within the limits of a teeming city. Whilst a short distance away is the delightful Otterspool Promenade, reclaimed from desolate wasteland by a clever system of controlled refuse dumping. For the police, Liverpool is interesting and at times difficult. Its size, huge population, and the enormous amount of road traffic create problems in the protection of property, the control of crowds, and the direction of traffic. Few cities in Britain present the police with situations as varied and complex as does Liverpool. Established in 1836, the force is now recognised as one of the most efficient in the country, with an authorised strength of over 2,000. There are 7 divisions. A division, the busy city centre, with its shops, cinemas, theatres and hotels, all attracting vast crowds. Detailed traffic control is difficult, but patience and good humour enable daily miracles of movement to be done. A division also contains the stately town hall, often the setting for the reception of royalty by the civic heads. B division is further from the river. Densely populated and highly industrialized. Its shops compete keenly with one another and vie for custom with street traders, all to the benefit of the working-class housewives. To keep the children off the busy main roads, play streets have been set apart. C, D, and E divisions border the waterfront. All docks are policed by the city force. 7 miles of dockland call for extreme mobility. Supervision over the enormous quantities of goods moved in and out daily requires a high degree of watchfulness, tact and discretion. Liverpool is one of the busiest ports in the world. On the outskirts of E division, we find modern factories in pleasant surroundings. With the work people housed in corporation estates or in flats. These 2 divisions, F and G, have large industrial areas, but are mainly residential, with many well-planned houses, and the spacious corporation estate at Speke. The force is fortunate in having an excellent training school, with its own swimming bath, gymnasium, and playing field. A would-be entrant is called for interview. Jealous of a fine reputation, great care is taken in the selection of recruits. He must be sound in English, general knowledge, and arithmetic, and must be of the required physical and medical standards. If successful, he is interviewed by the Chief Constable. On appointment, he is fitted with uniform and leaves for the district training centre. Back in Liverpool, after 3 months district training, he feels like a real policeman. But he receives still further instruction in local procedure and bylaws. At any hour, a police officer may be called to an accident, and many a person owes his life to prompt first aid. All receive expert judo instruction, and that includes the policewomen. The force is very proud of having had open, national and Olympic swimming champions in its ranks. But apart from this, with its rivers and canals, Liverpool demands that its police should be capable of rescuing people from drowning. Life-saving instruction, including the best methods of resuscitation, forms a very important part of training. Every recruit must show reasonable progress. This training forms a welcome break from lectures, and already the policewomen have shown remarkable prowess in duty and sport, receiving tributes from both bench and public. Everyone expects clear signals from a police officer, and regular drill ensures uniformity throughout the city. Particulars must be taken quickly and accurately. Training over, the young policeman reports at his station and meets his divisional chief superintendent for the first time. For a short time he is helped by an experienced constable, and so learns many tips not found in the books. At long last, a beat of his own. He will soon get to know the neighborhood and the people. He is the protector of life and limb, and becomes the friend and advisor of many. He must be ready to meet what lies round every corner. On this occasion, it's only his sergeant to see how he is getting on. Knowledge and authority develop each day, and he soon learns that a successful officer is one whose beat is free from trouble. As time goes on, other types of duty come his way. Each year, millions of pounds worth of merchandise pass through the dock estate, and it is vital that the police be on their toes to check vehicle loads and to keep out unauthorized persons. Premises are carefully examined after occupiers have left for the day. An open door may lead to an expensive theft. Formed in 1947, the women police have an authorized strength of 120 officers and women. They work in most departments and branches, including the motor patrols, and their work covers traffic duty at busy pedestrian crossings in the city centre, escort duties, and the taking of statements from women and girls. They are a valuable addition to police strength and deal most capably with everyday incidents of street duty. It is noticeable how easily the fair sex obtain rapid cooperation. In Liverpool, large public events are dealt with almost weekly. Here is Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, visiting Speke, and the British crowd, famous for its good humour, cheerfully cooperates with the police. The safety of the royal personage must take precedence over all else. Police work on these occasions is very highly organised, with pilot cars, mobile radio patrols, motorcyclists and the entire force all working to a close timetable. Liverpool is fortunate in having a highly efficient mounted branch. They add colour and pageantry to any event, and they are especially valuable in keeping onlookers within the limits of safety. Their skill has earned many tributes. Their duties take them to all parts of the city. Wherever there's a crowd, you'll see a mounted man. For these men and horses, Saturday afternoon at the match, whether it be Everton or Liverpool, is a regular date, rain or fine. Some 40,000 people attend these matches weekly, and mounted police have proved to be the best medium for controlling such numbers. The crowd expects them. It's all part of the day, and all goes smoothly, and everyone gets in time for the kick-off. The force has 27 horses, made up of chestnuts and greys, all geldings. Usually they are middleweight hunters, bought at ages from 3 to 5 years. During their 4 to 6 months training, the horses are specially schooled to become accustomed to all sorts of noises and hazards. By working with those already trained, the new horse quickly gains in confidence and skill. Come on, let him try again. Gently does it. That's a good boy. Whoops-a-daisy. The modern riding school and stables adjoin the training school at Mather Avenue. Every horse must have daily exercise, and unless there is some special duty, they do a 12-mile patrol of the city streets. Formed in 1952, the dog section has earned the regard of the public. Their efficiency in crime prevention and detection and in quelling hooliganism is remarkable. These successes have been achieved only by a most rigorous training program for both men and dogs. They are used equally in both town and suburbs, and the mere presence of a dog often prevents a crime. The Alsatian has been found to be the most suitable dog. He is fearless in attack. Many of these dogs are obtained as gifts from the public. The section has its own radio van, ready to go anywhere at a moment's notice. Many handlers prefer to keep their dog at home, but the force provides the kennel and the food, of course. Mechanization helps to combat crime. The traffic department is responsible for all transport, road traffic, and for maintaining the 999 system. To give a 24-hour service, every vehicle must be kept in tip-top condition, and in the modern workshops in Speakland Street there are few jobs which cannot be tackled by the mechanics. The crews go out on patrol, satisfied that their cars are ready for all emergencies. The average time taken to reach the scene of an accident is 3 minutes, yet over 40,000 emergency calls are received each year. The increasing volume of traffic brings greater loss of life every day. Excessive speed, carelessness, and lack of concentration are the main causes. Members of the department are alert to detect offenders and to give friendly advice or a warning where necessary. Police drivers must set an example. Every officer undergoes thorough training and must pass a rigorous test before being allowed to drive a police car. A knowledge of maintenance is considered very important. High speeds are often demanded of police drivers, and the danger of a skid is ever present. On the skid pan, the men are taught how to control skidding. The instructor explains, and then shows how it should be done. Then the pupils take over, until skidding loses all its terrors. Practice in stopping the bandit car is the highlight of this period of instruction. Experience has shown the usefulness of the motor scooter in covering large beats in the city outskirts. These officers are also given strict training and taught to acquaint themselves thoroughly with their machines. Using one of these, a man can travel quickly from one place to another, then can dismount and do some patrolling on foot. Two-way radios are fitted. Though mechanized, the officer does not lose that contact with the public which is so valuable. At any moment, he may be required in an emergency. The policeman's first thought will be to summon medical attention. His next step will be to see what he can do in the way of first aid and keeping the patient warm. Not until the casualty has been cared for will he think of taking particulars. When people are going away from home and are leaving their house empty for any length of time, the police encourage them to call at the nearest police station and notify the fact. The particulars will be registered, and officers will be instructed to pay attention to the empty property whenever possible. Householders should be warned to cancel tradesmen's orders, because this sort of thing advertises their absence and is an invitation to the housebreaker. Prevention of crime is better than its detection. Police time is saved. Public respect and cooperation are maintained. This kind of thoughtful service not only earns public thanks and gratitude, but a troublesome crime may be prevented. Breaking offenses are going on all the time. All too frequently, in fact. Criminal investigation officers will make a thorough search for any clues as to the identity of the criminal, and will take careful particulars of property stolen. No detail is too small, and the most unlikely things might give a clue to the identity of the criminal. If the object cannot be easily moved, it is carefully photographed for fingerprints, and these are kept for searching in the record. Plaster casts of a footprint or other mark may give a useful lead, especially if there is a suspect. Photography plays an important part in any modern police force, and the Liverpool force has some of the finest equipment in the country. Hundreds of thousands of fingerprints are carefully filed in the collection. Since 1956, Liverpool has housed the Merseyside Regional Criminal Record Office, which keeps the criminal records, photographs and fingerprints of criminals operating in the 10 police areas of the Merseyside and North Wales. Giving 24-hour service, this office acts as a clearinghouse and nerve centre for the whole region. Information and photographs of criminals are quickly dispatched to other forces from the printing room. One of the most interesting and effective services to the public which Liverpool has pioneered is the Juvenile Liaison Scheme. Under this scheme, young first offenders are not prosecuted, but are taken in hand by specially selected liaison officers who work closely with other social services to direct their activities along healthier lines, into youth and church clubs, or into sport, and so to prevent young people from drifting into crime. Young people, particularly girls, often run away from home and arrive in the city with no friends and nowhere to stay. The staff of the Moral Welfare Department of the force keeps a watchful eye on railway stations, bus termini and other places, and they are always ready to give assistance in finding accommodation and employment. In off-duty hours, members of the force find that almost every conceivable sport, hobby and social activity is catered for under the guidance of the Force Athletic Society. If you are interested in the stage, the concert party which entertains the force, hospitals and pensioners will surely provide an outlet for your talents. In the city of Liverpool, the police force takes a full part in the life of the community. The skill of these horsemen is unbelievable. This sort of thing calls for the highest coordination between hand and eye, and the greatest understanding between horse and rider. The Liverpool City Police have, for more than a century, been outstanding in achieving the highest technical efficiency, and have been the pioneers of many techniques which are now an everyday part of general police science. With this record, the Liverpool City Police can look ahead, secure in the knowledge that it can offer recruits a career full of interest and a share in the future of a respected and highly competent branch of the police service. The film which follows, acted by police and civilian personnel, illustrates how the various branches of the force work together as a team. This factory cashier on his way to the bank never varies his routine in collecting the firm's wages. He has been carefully watched for weeks, and the thieves know his every movement, timed to the last second. An accomplice is soon warned, and the carefully prepared plan is put into operation. Nothing is more likely to put the victim off his guard than a girl in distress. Yes, and our Sir Galahad is no exception. Hello, he's even left the ignition key. I'll take that, and now he can't chase us. Well, I'm afraid he's asked for it. My goodness, my wages. And she seems such a nice girl, too. By dialing 999, the cashier brings the whole police machine into action immediately. The operations room, which handles over 40,000 emergency calls each year, takes this type of crime in its stride. A map is marked up, and patrols are alerted by radio. Teleprinter warns all stations and surrounding forces. Begins to tighten. Only one escape road is left. Now this is blocked. Dogs are useful in a tight corner or a chase, and no harm is done to have them handy in a case like this. Point to intercept him. Now's the time when teamwork becomes important, when 100 years' experience bears fruit. Many cases of crime such as this are brought to a successful conclusion each year by the enthusiastic teamwork which is such a marked characteristic of the force. As members complete their service and retire on pension, others are needed to take their place. This film has shown how interesting and varied life is in the Liverpool City Police. This is open to you. Join the Liverpool City Police and take the first step to an absorbing and well-paid career in a virile city, with excellent opportunities for promotion even to the very top, with maximum security for you and your family, and with a generous pension at the end. For full details, write to the Chief Constable, City Police, Liverpool. Right now.